smart guys. You know, be able to mix, I guess, their personalities and their philosophies, but still make it gel. And so they're in the infancy stage with this thing, but they're just a ton of respect for them because they know what they're doing. They know the challenges that they put on offenses. You can see a reason behind what they're doing each and every week. You can see how they're attacking an offensive scheme, and then also giving you enough, change-ups to just make you have to adjust on game day. So there's a reason he got that head job, and it shows.
It was such a late ad, it seemed to be last week with Puka being eligible to play.
Was it?
I don't know. Was you tell me? So how does that change this week, knowing he's more into the reps?
Yeah, no, it's just that, right? I mean, last week was a very abnormal week. Anytime you play a Thursday game for what both teams, it's abnormal. It just was extra abnormal because those guys truly had not, Puka had truly not practiced yet, until that Tuesday, which was just a walkthrough. There was no week before getting, ready or anything like that. So he was doing it on the side, obviously with his rehab assignment. But no, I mean, when in any sport, when you practice and you're playing that sport, you just going to get more comfortable and hopefully just get more better at your craft. So just having him back out there yesterday kind of felt like normal, and then being able to stack it on today when we get the pads on, it'll just hopefully for Sunday. Well, it's not the first time he's been back in 6 weeks. It's the second time.
After the game, when we'd asked him, what did you miss the most? I was expecting an answer about, running onto the field or that first catch. He actually said practice. It was being in the team involvement. Is that abnormal?
Not for him. I mean, he's a stud. And that's he's a very talented, athlete, but he's a better person and better competitor. There's not a lot of guys built like him. So, it's just good to have him back. And I'm like I say with all these injured guys, you're happy for them to get on the field, and so just happy for him and Cooper and some of the guys. In a few weeks that we get back, you're pumped for them.
Knowing how exotic, excuse me, knowing how exotic Flores is with his fronts, when you see Bo and Justin handle everything without practice, only utilizing walkthroughs to prepare, what does that mean to you as a play caller? I mean, what does that mean to you as an offensive coordinator, and how much confidence does it instill in you, in them?
Yeah, it was cool, because that was a exotic deal that they had to do in just a short period of time. So for them to go out there, not flinch, react to what they were seeing. I mean, there was things that Flores was doing that was a little bit abnormal, but you knew that was going to happen, and that was just kind of what we preached to those guys all week. So for them to go out there, not blink, just show up and play each play as its own, really cool to see them grow up in the moment.
Forgive me for not knowing the answer to the first part of this question, because we don't get to see, obviously, the full Fridays
Sure.
sometimes, but you noticed you installing a lot of red zone stuff. Has that been that way this entire season, and or what is your responsibility on Fridays for that?
I'm just trying to be, whatever Sean needs, So, I mean, every week is fluid. I mean, as a head coach, you got a ton of responsibilities. I joke he has 99, I have 1, right? And my responsibility is to make sure, that, whenever he's gone, I can, pick it up and handle it. So it's fluid every week, and, I do what I'm told and what's needed.
Yeah, but that area has improved over the last...
Oh, no, that has nothing to do. No, nothing has changed in terms of how we're going about our process. Like I said, there was a small sample size. We still got a long way to go in every facet of this game. So just because we had a good week last week, a decent week the week before, again, that's a very fluctuating area that changes week to week, even when you get a little bit later in the season.
And then, sorry, the third part of that question is having Cooper and Puka. How does that affect when you're in a condensed space like that, condensed area of the field? How does what defenders do to account for those guys maybe open up more space by proxy?
Yeah, I mean, each defense is going to be a little bit different. Some people are going to focus on player a little bit more. Some people are just going to play their coverage and be really disciplined with it. Neither's right or wrong, So you just kind of know going into that game what their plan is going to be, or at least what they showed, and you got to be able to react to whatever their adjustments are going to be.
The offensive line done well against two complicated defenses. What have you seen from them that's made them, able to succeed? And does that make you feel like you have more options offensively?
I don't know necessarily about more options, but just it's just like anything. I mean, the more continuity you have. I mean, these guys have played together for a few weeks, so you expect to have improvement, and we expect to even see more, and I know they expect to see more themselves. So, again, every week is just about just continuing to improve, continuing to gel, continue to play with the physicality that is needed each and every week to be a successful offense. Because among all else, yeah, they're learning, getting better at their fundamentals. They're learning this, I guess you could say that what we're expecting from a scheme standpoint. But the physicality is always going to be what's going to take you to the level that you want.
Luka has talked in the past about an effort when he played at Seattle last year, just kind of trying to figure out, wanted to be in the right place at the right time. What do you, when you look back at that game, what do you recall about him in that game, what he did?
Confirming that the game wasn't too big for him, confirming that, man, we probably have someone pretty special here as a person. And luckily his body, can allow him to be pretty special on the field, and it's easy to say that about a guy like, Puka in front of you guys or to him or to in front of the team, because he backs it up. He's a stud, and not everything's perfect. He expects way more out of himself than we expect out of him. So it's pretty cool to have him back, and I know the players feel the same way.
Coach, I often hear you talking about challenging your players to improve every practice and every week. I'm curious, how are you challenging yourself to improve as a coach today and this week?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, you're always looking to improve, so you're trying to just learn from these guys and what did we mess up. I mean, us as coaches, we make as many mistakes as these players. Sometimes you don't get to see it because it might have happened on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You come up with a bad play, you suggest something, but it happens all the time. So you just try to kind of in those moments learn from it. We're not going to be perfect, but you just try to limit it as much as you can. And when you do make those mistakes, which happens quite often, take accountability in front of the players. If you're going to expect them to take accountability for their actions, we got to do the same thing, And so that's what's cool about this league. It's working with these guys, not you're not above them by any means. You're working with them and for them, really.
Mike, it seems just from the outside, what we talk about, obviously, less so maybe than what you guys talk about, is when you guys are climbing back from how you started the season and getting guys healthy. Sean McVay has emphasized sort of this "you where your feet are" approach, and he says the work works and all that. And even when you come out here today, we're pointing out good things that are happening, and you're like, no, it's a small sample size. So I guess I'm wondering, how are you able to stay so even keel, understanding the climb ahead and the stakes that are ahead, and have you always had that?
I'm still relatively young, but I feel like I do know this league is week to week, and if you don't live that way through the ups and the downs, then it's too long. And if you're volatile in our process, the players will take suit with that, and so it's true. If you're, it's harder, said than done in terms of being where your feet are, but if you don't try to take that approach and really live by that, how are your players supposed to do the same thing, So again, that's the way we approach it. And I really don't know who we play next week. I have no clue. I'm sure if I thought about it right now, but nothing's even coming to mind. I know we got Seattle on Sunday. I know it's going to be a crazy test going up to that place. It's a problem playing up there, and because we all know why. And it's going to be a great battle for our guys.